Where did those 50 years go?
Welcome back to Still Groovy, the show about good living, hard-won wisdom, and staying hopeful in a broken world. I'm Sunshine, and this is my Marty.
Today we're talking about grief, what it actually is, what it does to you, and how you carry the people you've lost without being crushed by the weight.
And I want to say right up front, this one's personal. We've buried parents, friends, a brother, and some days that list feels longer than it should.
Grief is not a malfunction. Your nervous system is trying to account for someone who used to be everywhere and suddenly isn't anywhere.
That's the best way I've ever heard it said, honestly. One day their code is on the hook, and then it's on the hook and they're gone, and the code is almost worse.
The psychiatrist George Bonanno spent decades studying how people actually grieve, and what he found blew up a lot of what we thought we knew.
We were all taught the 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, like grief was a neat little staircase you climbed.
Bonanno's research showed most people don't move through stages in order. About 65% of bereaved people show what he calls resilience. They're sad, and they keep functioning, and that's not denial.
Which means if you're not falling apart, you're not doing it wrong. Lord, I wish someone had told me that when my mother died.
And if you're falling apart, that's not weakness either. Grief is not a performance, and there is no grade.
I've had grief that hit me 3 years later, standing in the garden picking beans and suddenly crying because my dad used to love fresh beans and
That's called a grief burst, completely normal. The brain files things away and then something, a smell, a song, a stupid bowl of beans, unlocks the file.
I threw the beans in the pot and I cried for 20 minutes, and Marty came out to the garden and just stood there with me.
I didn't say a word. There's nothing to say. Presence is the thing.
He's learned that. It took him a while. Early on he wanted to fix it, explain it, systems mind his way through my feelings.
I absolutely did. I kept offering solutions to something that didn't have a solution. And she finally looked at me and said, "Just be here."
And he was. That's the whole lesson. Maybe just be there. Don't fix, don't rush, don't suggest they call someone unless they ask.
When I was in palliative care, they told us to get things in order around 2010. We had some of the most important conversations of our lives.
I will not pretend that was easy. But I will say it made us closer than we had ever been, which I didn't think was possible after 40-something years.
Anticipatory grief is real. Grieving someone who is still alive, either because they're ill or because dementia is slowly taking them somewhere you can't follow.
My friend Linda watched her husband go away in pieces for 7 years. She said she grieved him 100 times before she grieved him the last time.
That's one of the cruelest forms of loss, and it is massively under-acknowledged. If you are living that, you're not being dramatic, you are doing something extraordinarily hard.
Our grandkids Terry and Robbie lost their school hamster last year and laughed about it, but Robbie cried later and didn't want anyone to know.
Every loss teaches you how to lose. That little hamster was practice for the bigger ones, and there's nothing trivial about that.
We tell them, feel it. Don't perform it. Don't hide it. Just feel it and let it move through you.
C.S. Lewis wrote after his wife died that grief felt exactly like fear. That sick, hollow, restless feeling. He said nobody told him that.
Physical grief is real. Chest tightness, fatigue, forgetting words, not being hungry. Your body is grieving too, not just your mind.
Sleep disruption is extremely common in acute grief. The brain runs a kind of search process at night, looking for the person, coming up empty, waking you.
I used to wake up at 3 in the morning after my mother passed and just lie there listening to the house like she might be in it somewhere.
The log home has its own sounds at night. It creaks and settles like an old ship. And for a while I think Sonny heard things in it.
I did, and it was actually comforting. Don't tell me what it was or wasn't. It helped.
I believe her completely. The line between memory and presence gets very thin when you love someone that much.
Here's what helped me, practically speaking. I kept one thing of my mother's that was just hers. Her blue cardigan, I didn't display it. I just knew where it was.
Object attachment in grief is healthy. You are not hoarding. You are not stuck. You are externalizing memory, which is something humans have done since we buried people with their tools.
I also talk to her out loud in the garden. Still do. If that makes me eccentric, I'm fully at peace with that.
Talking to the dead is documented across every human culture on Earth. It appears to be one of the things we are built to do.
The cruelest thing you can do to a grieving person is tell them to move on, or that it's been long enough, or that their person is in a better place, as if that closes anything.
What actually helps, and this is backed by decades of research, is saying their person's name, mentioning them, letting the griever talk about them without steering away.
Yes. When someone says, "I remember when Frank did that thing at the lake," that is a gift. You just handed me Frank for a minute.
We carry the people we've lost inside us in a way that is neurologically literal. The patterns they made in your brain, the voice, the gestures, they persist.
Marty has outlived his prognosis by about 16 years now. I have had a lot of practice at almost losing him, and a lot of practice at gratitude.
She's never once made me feel like a burden in 30-something years of machines and hospitals and 2 transplants and everything else. That is an act of love I can't fully describe.
You carry the living too, is what I'm saying. Grief isn't only for after.
The Stoics had a practice called memento mori. Remember that you will die, not to be morbid, but to stay awake to what you actually have while you have it.
Terry asked me last summer what happens when people die, and I said honestly, I don't know exactly, but I know they stay in the people who loved them.
She said that was a good answer. Robbie said it was unscientific. We told him he was right and that it was still true.
If you are grieving right now, someone recent, someone years ago, someone who is still here but leaving slowly, we see you, and you are not alone in it.
Grief means you loved someone. That is not a wound. That is the evidence of a life fully lived with another person in it.
Still groovy, we mean it. You can be broken open by loss and still grow things in the cracks. I've watched it happen. I've done it.
So have I. Hold your people close tonight, the ones still here and the ones you're carrying. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time on Still Groovy.